Greetings, how are you today?
I am fine. How about you?
I am all right. We are 100 years old, Dixie, today, and we are celebrating, commemorating, and documenting its illustrious and excellent history. If you would tell us, who are we with today?
You are with James Michael Gilliam, most known as Mike Gilliam in Dixie.
Yes, sir. And where this beautiful place is, the grassroots place that you have here. Will you tell us a little bit about where we are right now?
Right now we're at Ugly Mike's Records, 4710 West 12th Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, where we have everything.
Yes, sir. Almost sounds like Dixie. So if you would, give us your fondest or your greatest memory or memories as it relates to Dixie.
Oh, wow, that's going to be hard to do because I have so many memories of Dixie.
Please, share.
All of my life, I've been Dixie. Dixie's in my heart and my soul.
Yes.
I left Dixie in 1961 and I still own property in Dixie. So that lets you know Dixie is part of my entwine.
Yes.
When I die, I want them to say that I'm from Dixie.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I've
sir.
always been from Dixie and I'll always be from Dixie.
Yes,
Dixie
sir.
is my heart.
Yes, sir. Now, when you, growing up in Dixie, there was a variety of businesses going on in Dixie, a variety of families that made sure that they were self-sufficient and dependent on each other. Can you share anything in relation to those type of memories with us as well?
Yeah, I can. In Dixie, when I grew up, families looked after families. I don't think we ever had a lock on our door.
Yes.
We never had to lock our door because wouldn't nobody come in your house and take nothing. I don't know how it happened, but you know, you talk about the old people in Dixie, how they could get a message around. I lived on I Street.
Yes.
I could be on D Street showing out. When I got home, my mama already knew it and we didn't even have a phone. So I don't know how the message got there, but when I get home, the switch is waiting on me.
So growing up, I know I feel like I am in a very, very special place right now. Growing up, can you share with us just other individuals that you played with, maybe even had some childhood memories to share with us as well?
If you lived in Dixie, we were a village, put it like that.
Yes.
Everybody in Dixie played with everybody. I don't think I had an enemy in Dixie.
Yes,
everybody was my friend.
Yes, sir.
From, you know,
small
the Otis Owens.
Okay, yes, sir.
To let me see, I would say to the Allens on D Street,
yes,
the Collins on C
Yes,
Street,
sir.
the Lonnies on F Street.
Yes, sir.
The Johnsons on F Street. We played with everybody.
Yes, sir.
You know, we were just a family. The whole thing was a family.
Yes, sir.
And I think one of the things that I liked during the summertime,
yes, sir,
they had a baseball field, a homemade baseball field out of KC Bacon Powder Company.
All right.
And we played ball out there every day. And when baseball season was over on Sundays, we went out and played football.
Yes, sir.
That's what we did in Dixie.
Yes, sir. So we spoke about family. You've let us know it's all about family in Dixie. It has always been, and that is something to celebrate. That is something to commemorate. A historic black neighborhood celebrating each other. What is your family name in history as it relates to Dixie?
Well, my family, I would say the patriarch of my family in Dixie was Stuart Bland.
Okay.
My mother was a Bland. My dad says he's a Gilliam, but I don't have any relatives on his side. He said his whole family drowned in the flood in 27 or whenever it was.
Okay.
And he and a sister escaped, but those are the only ones he had.
Really? Okay. And you all stayed on I Street?
We stayed on I Street. Our home address was 812 I Street.
812 I Street. And you still, like you said, own land?
We still own that property.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What kind of community? You've already shared with us that it's family oriented for sure. What are some other characteristics that you would say the community is, and why? Why is it that way, you would say?
Well, it's going to be hard for me to tell you why it is that way because Dixie has evolved a lot since I was a kid.
Okay.
And most of that time I didn't live in Dixie.
Okay.
But when I come out there, I see a lot of changes from what I was, from the fact that everybody now have indoor toilets. When I was growing up there, they had the house out there.
Yes, share, because we've seen articles of when they began and expand the sewer, when they expanded the so share with us. I mean, dirt roads. How was that? You know?
Yeah, we had dirt roads, and they put gravel out there, and they put the tile in the gravel. And if you had a pair of new shoes, sometimes you take your shoes off because you didn't want tile to get stuck to your shoes.
Right.
And it was. You know,
yes, sir. Watching it evolve.
It was the country then.
Yes. Okay.
Now it's part of the city.
It is. They did do that,
they did a lot.
Yes, sir.
And I mentioned those indoor toilets because that was one of my things that somebody made me mad. I sneak around at night and turn their toilet on.
Make sure they don't mess with Mike Gilliam.
Yeah, they don't mess with me.
I love it. I love it. Things have changed. Dixie has evolved. All cities and towns have their dark ages and their light ages, or their new ages. Would you like to see a new Dixie? And if so, what would that look like to you?
I don't know. I think it'll evolve into a new Dixie eventually.
Yes.
You know, I hope it have the same community desires and aspects that they have now. Because, you know, Dixie's always been a tight-knit community.
Yes, sir.
And I hope that they would have that then.
Yes, sir.
And let me tell you something. I can go places now, and I can talk to people. Like I said, I was gone a long time. And a lot of people in Dixie now, I don't know. I can go places now, and I can run into people who's from Dixie that I did not know.
Yeah.
And we sit and talk just like we was friends forever. You know, that's just how close Dixie people were.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because every now and then we did fight a little bit.
Of course.
But then after we get through fighting, we'd be right there on the basketball court playing basketball.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll fight amongst each other, but don't mess with us.
No outsiders.
No outsiders. I can dig it. I can dig it. Before I was even a part of the documentary and saying to myself, this is something that I want to be a part of. One thing that I noticed was that there were a lot of movement going on when it comes to activism in Dixie. They made sure that they had what they needed. They fought. Do you recall any special, I know we have Dixie Day and things of that nature, but do you recall any monument time in history that something happened in Dixie?
No, I think, no. When I was growing up, the biggest thing to us in Dixie tied in with the Scipio A. Jones High School.
Yes, sir.
All of us Dixie boys played football.
Okay.
And when Friday nights came, Dixie would turn out the football stadium to see us Dixie boys play football.
Yes.
On the Scipio A. Jones high team.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about Scipio A. Jones, because that was the primary high school for African Americans during that time.
Right. Scipio A. Jones was my school.
Yes, sir.
In fact, I was just elected president of the National Association of Scipio A. Jones High National Alumni.
Congratulations. That is monumentous. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I made the speech how I am so proud that I got the opportunity to walk the halls of Scipio A. Jones.
Yes.
And I told him I did go to class every now and then. But I did walk the halls.
So, it was not, there was no busing at the time.
No, not for Dixie.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, this thing would happen, how things went in those days. The bus would go to Tie Plant, which is behind Dixie.
Yes.
Pick up those kids. It would pass us up. We walking to Jones, it would pass us up.
So how far would you say the walk was for Jones?
Probably about maybe a couple of miles. You know.
And that was every day?
Every day. And that was down the backtrack. If you walk out to Broadway and walk to Jones, it was probably about 4 miles. But you know, we found the shortcut, how to cut through the backtrack and do that. It was a couple of miles.
Okay.
But the thing about me, I could leave home because, like I said, most of us guys play football.
Yes.
I could jog it.
And be done.
Yeah, and be no problem. In probably less than half an hour.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't no big thing to us then.
Right.
I think about it now, I think that probably would have been, should have been a big thing, but it wasn't to us.
Right.
But then again, too, I remember when I was growing up, it wasn't a lot of cars in Dixie. No family had 2 cars that I know of.
Okay.
And it wasn't a lot of cars.
That's interesting.
So walking,
Was the thing.
Was the thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Scipio A. Jones integrated or closed. Do you remember when? Can you share with us when?
Yeah, the last graduating class was 1970.
1970.
I wasn't here at the time.
Okay.
But
1970. And that's when everyone migrated to Northeast.
Northeast.
Correct. Okay. So, do you recall any monumental time in between that change? Oh, you wasn't here. You wasn't in Arkansas at that time. Okay, cool. Understood. But with the president, being the president now of Scipio A. Jones, do you get to interact with more Dixie members? Do you see them? Are they active with the alumni?
Yeah, we have some Dixie members who's active with the alumni. Like I told you, I ran into Dawes Stovall last night.
Yay.
I ran into Evalani.
Yes,
we still got Dixie members
exactly
with Scipio A. Jones.
Yes, sir. Now, Carter G. Woodson was the elementary school.
Right.
Do you remember any moments or any times going or seeing that school?
Sure, I remember Carter G. Woodson. I remember when Carter G. Woodson was built, I was in the second grade.
Okay.
Before that, it was another school on the other side of the railroad track. I think it was called East End Elementary School. I was in the first grade. My first grade teacher was Miss Bowles. Miss Bowles taught all of us. It's 12 of us, and they went to.
Yes, sir. They went to the
East End School. Miss Bowles taught all 12 of them in the first grade.
Okay.
She introduced all of us to school anyway, to public school.
Miss Burt went to East End as well. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes. So, did East End close before Carter G. Woodson?
No.
Or were they going at the same time?
No, Carter G. Woodson replaced East End. East End closed when Carter G. Woodson opened.
Got you. Okay. Do we know about what time or what year was?
Well, I was in the second grade now. They really just had to figure that out.
Yeah. Okay.
In those days, what year, the dates didn't mean nothing to me.
And that's why I say, because just looking for documentation on Carter G. Woodson has been a difficult task. North of the Rock History Commission has some things, but I would love to hear the difference between East End and Carter G. Woodson and see what the spectrum was for the change and things like that.
And what I can remember most of it, and it's vaguely in the back of my mind, when I went to East End School, the first day of school.
Yes, sir.
They let us out for a little recess. I left school and came home. I thought I had learned all I needed to know by then.
And this was second grade?
First grade.
Oh, this is...
I got that switch and bounced right on back up there.
So was that a long... East End would be landmark wise, would it be anywhere near Hudson Fisk?
East End was where Carter G. Woodson is. As soon as you cross the track, it was between the tracks and Broadway.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, sir.
Directly in front of where Carter G. Woodson is. Now, all you had to do was just cross the track.
Cross the track. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you are a business owner yourself. Ugly Mike's. We're standing here. Ugly Mike's Records. How was this birthed? How was this established? How have you been here and doing grassroots works like this?
Well, I've been here for about 42 years.
Yes, sir.
I think when I named it Ugly Mike, they've been calling me that all my life.
Ugly Mike?
It started when I was in high school playing football. I was kind of dirty.
Okay.
And one evening I had done something dirty on the field, and Coach B said, "That boy sure play ugly down there." And that's how that Ugly Mike come in. Oh, Ugly Mike. They used to put the emphasis on Ugly Mike. But now they just say it's Ugly Mike. Yeah. So that's been hag.
Yes, sir. In 42 years when you first came, so this would have been as soon as you got back to Arkansas.
Yeah, I came back in 79.
What made you do records?
I left Arkansas and went into the Navy. When I got discharged, I was married at the time, and I lived in Boston.
Okay.
One day I walked into in 1967, I walked into a record shop and got a job. And that's all I've done since then. Been in the entertainment business somewhere since
then. Okay. Now, what else does Ugly Mike's Records provide or have provided in the past?
Well, we used to have a little banquet room upstairs, but they got on my nerve. Get on your nerve, you cut it loose. But you know, basically, I just been a music store in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And it's good for me.
Yes,
It's
sir.
been good to me.
Yes.
And I hope I've been good to you.
All right. All right.
You know, at my age now, I'm about ready to call it quits.
Yes, sir.
So,
can you name at least 5 excellent individuals from Dixie, past or present, and
sure
why?
I can. Number one,
I can dig it. I can dig it. I would have
you know,
said it too.
I would hate to do that because you would leave some people out.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody to say, well, what about me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but to me, everybody from Dixie was
Yes,
excellent
sir.
people because
Yes,
I
sir.
love it. I don't, like I said, I don't ever remember having an enemy in Dixie.
Yes,
I
sir.
love everybody in Dixie. And when I meet Dixie people now, they show me that same love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you know any individuals that own land and did also had a business and also kind of worked with other things? And I know the Grover Theater was there. So are there any other?
Well, you know about T.R.'s
Perry, yes,
grocery
sir.
store. Robert L. had picked up the little store on
Yes,
D Street.
sir.
The SQ had a place called the Sunspot on D
Oh,
Street.
yes. I've heard
Okay, I
of that.
remember that. The Lawrence had a store on I Street. My wife's family had another little store, a little juke joint type store
Okay.
further on down I Street. Across the street from them was Seven Brothers Cafe
In Dixie?
in Dixie. It was called, everybody knows it, Big Josh did.
Yeah, okay. I would see you're giving me some businesses that I hadn't been privy to here yet. So
It was a few little businesses in Dixie growing up.
yes, sir.
I
A
can't
washer, was it a dryer and a washer too?
Yeah, that was after I had left. But
Okay.
when I would come home to visit, I saw it. It was on 9th Street between I and 8th Street.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but
Yes,
they
sir.
built that after I had left.
Okay.
But I'm just, the things that was there when I
What
left.
was there?
The Fosters had a store on F Street. Look, I think I can't remember his name, but he had the big garage. I think on G Street.
Big garage.
Mhm.
Okay. It wasn't the Mitchell, was it?
No, it wasn't the Mitchell. Mitchell's was on D Street, if I can remember.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the Mitchells was plumbers, most of them.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am so happy. I'm so happy that we've had this time. If there's anything else that you would like to share with us, please do so. Anything that's upcoming for the Scipio A. Jones Alumni Association that you may want to share with us. We have, of course, you have Dixie members, but anything else you want to share with us, we would love to hear right now.
Well, that's about it. If I come up with anything, I write it down and give it to you.
Yes, sir. I can dig
And
it.
since you know who my wife is, I got an excellent secretary.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much time for your so much for your time, Mr. Gilliam. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yes, sir. Now, you also shared with me that you had some promotion or a documentary with Channel 11. What was that all about? Was it just Scipio A. Jones?
No, it was about the store, Ugly Mike's Records.
Okay.
I was trying to pull something up on the internet.
Yes, sir. Please
If I can,
do.
I'll show it to you if I can put it up.
Okay.
Put a tune in the bucket, I couldn't even carry it. How did I do this? I guess everybody always say I had the ear for music.
An ear for music and a passion for business. It is what keeps generations of people coming back to this Little Rock music landmark. A place where vinyl records, CDs, even cassette tapes never go out of style.
Wake Up Central's Journey Taylor introduces us to the man behind the music with an unusual nickname whose career spans decades of spinning tunes and selling them too.
Take a trip down 12th Street and you'll find a piece of living history.
Come on.
Surrounded by vinyl records, plastic CD cases, and reminders of the past sits a man with a unique name.
Well, I like being ugly. You can't tell who's pretty until you stand somebody ugly up next to him.
Since 1979, Ugly Mike has done it all and has become a Central Arkansas legend.
When you grew up not having anything, you learn how to hustle. You learn how to go out and get yours. Because my parents didn't have anything to give us. Because I've always been a go-getter. Otherwise,
Ugly Mike's Record Shop is a two-story building where you can find hits from the Supremes and Barbra Streisand on vinyl pressed in the 70s to the new music released just this year. There's so much music, in fact, Ugly Mike can barely keep up.
I mean, and I look at all the albums I bought and I say, well, I think I'll put these up later. That's my first ride.
From day one, the business has been owned and operated till this day by Mr. Ugly Mike.
When I was a kid playing football, I was kind of dirty. And one evening the coach said, this boy sure play ugly, don't he? At first they just started calling me ugly, then they put Mike onto the end of it. That's ugly Mike. Good stuff.
The North Little Rock native joined the Navy after high school, and during a stint in Massachusetts, he found a passion for music, becoming a DJ for a radio station and a comedian.
I returned home in '79. In 1979, the disco hit. And it was hard for me to get a job, steady. And I had got used to making money then, making a few dollars. So I said, well, if I can't make any money, maybe I can go home and then open up my own store.
And now, 45 years later, it's become a staple of the community and a place filled with music and memories.
I am from West 12th Street. I grew up in Highland Court. We used to come over here and play Pac-Man. He had the Pac-Man machines and we'll come over here and he had little snacks.
But it wasn't just snacks and a place to escape. For decades, Ugly Mike used his spot to put the spotlight on young artists. His record label, Cold Heat Records, gave aspiring stars a place to record their music and the counter space to get it out into the community.
Everybody was the same. That's how I looked at it. I'd tell you to go to the bathroom just like you. Put your stuff right there.
Because there's only one rule to be a hustler.
The bottom line is I'm in business to make money. Period. That's the bottom line.
The shop was also a stop for many celebrities, from R&B singer Usher.
I had no idea it would be Usher of today.
To rappers like Coolio.
I like visiting with Coolio. Coolio was good.
But nothing beats the day that Pretty Tony shot his Down in the Dirty video outside the shop.
14,000, 15,000 people showed up. I goes out to Sam's and I buy every bottle of water they have. It's in the summertime and I sold every one. And the video shoot fine with me, but I'm up here to make money. I'm selling this water now,
You go to Ugly Mike's Records and tell them I sent you. Make sure you give it a discount when you get there, okay? Right. There used to be Sax Wax and Tapes, which was right there beside Leander Smith College, and then there was Soul Brothers Record Shop, and that's where Arkansas Baptist College is now, and then there was Ugly Mike's.
Longtime DJ and morning show host Broadway Joe is an expert at spinning and buying records.
And out of all of them, Ugly Mike's is still going.
It's Ugly Mike's durability and his friendship that kept him coming back.
Everybody has to figure out what's the next niche, what's this, what's that, and he keeps it going. And you don't do stuff like that unless you do good business.
While some may see a place filled with junk, with light dust resting on top of timeless music, for others, the record shop is a testament of how it pays off to be in tune with the community. And despite the name, Ugly Mike says he's lived a pretty good life.
That would be my legacy. I was this guy who had this record store, Ugly Mike's Records, and he did all right. He did us all right, and he did all right. UGLYMIKE.
First, he is not ugly, Mike. He is quite handsome.
Greetings, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
All right. We have reached 100 years of Dixie this year, 2024, from its first being platted in July 22nd, 1924. So we have a few questions for you.
Okay.
What is your fondest or greatest memory of Dixie?
My greatest memory of Dixie?
Yes, sir.
It's really just about Dixie, but just growing up out here, as a child, I didn't have a father in my life, but my greatest fond memory was really of how the men's in the area here, you know, they came together and helped my mother in raising me, you know, and keeping me in line that I was still on the right road, you know. So, but I have a lot of memories of Dixie, though. You know, Dixie was like family.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's different now, but back then it was family. I never seen anybody was hurting for anything. If someone was hurting, Dixie came together and they worked together, you know, sharing things. It was a place for respect for the elders, you know, young people respect their elders, and the elders really set a good example for the young folks to follow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. When you say that they had to steer you wrong, I know they didn't have to do too many steering, but can you give us some childhood memories in relation to activities? Okay. You know, activities now are not the same as growing up in your time. What were some of the things as a child that you all would do here in Dixie? Okay,
in Dixie, we didn't have a park or anything like they have to play in now. I lived on 1009 F Street, and across in front of where we lived at, it was just a vacant lot. It belongs, I think, to the Lewis's, Alexander. But they let us clean the lot off, and that was our baseball field, you know. Okay. Yeah, we used to just play in the streets, you know. Yes. And we would play baseball out there, and then we had a little spot here on 8th Street where we would go and shoot marbles and do all that. Okay. And then we had bicycles where we would just ride and do things like that. But our biggest activity was really playing baseball and basketball, because that's what we grew up doing around here. And then as we grew, we finally, this was after I became like a young adult, so I was a young teenager. Me and the Stovall's and one of your uncles, your Uncle BB, we used to pass by the Conley Park. It wasn't Conley Park then, it was just a big wide field out there. See? And what we do, and we played for the Dixie All-Star. They would call it Little Rock All-Star baseball team. And we would practice over there behind the KC Baking Powder Company over there off of Broadway. Okay. And so Robert Stovall, he was our manager, that's our father. And we would come through there coming from work, and we look out on the field out there, you know, and we say, well, you know, kids in Dixie have nowhere to play at. They're playing out in the fields and all the things like that, and out on Bacon lots. And some of the lots, you know, had debris and all kind of stuff out there on it. So we just say, well, maybe I think the park there now, it belongs to the light company there. So what we did, we stopped there one day, and we had a man here named Jamesy Lipkin. He worked at the light plant. So we went over there and asked him who did the property belongs to. And they told us that it belongs to the light plant. So he went and got the man and brought him to the fence, and we talked with him. We said, you know what, we would like to start a baseball field out there, you know. And he told us, he said, well, go it on. I guess he was just thought that we were just joking. So every day we would get off from work. I was about 17, 18 years old or like that. And we would go out there and cut down the little short bushes and things that was out there. We would clean the field off and everything. And then they seen that we were serious. So they sent Jams out there with one of these tractor that cut the ground, little weeds and stuff, like a big mower or something. And we started the Conley Park. A lot of people say they started the I'm just telling you the original thing how Conley Park really got started. Yes. So it was myself, Robert Jr. Stovall, James Melvin, that was Cecil, that's our baseball players, and your uncle Johnny B. Turner, and myself, and Robert Stovall, Mr. Robert Stovall. We went to work out there and fixed that field up, and the city seen that we were serious. So what they did, they cleaned off the rest of the field, like the outfield and everything. They cut it down real nice, and they put us a stream behind home plate. They put a stream up there, and they put some picnic tables out there in the left field. They put 2 picnic tables out there and some barbecue thing, and then they put a water hydrant out down there, you know, before we could have water. Yes. And then later on, they came and put a stand out there behind home plate. And that's what started off the Dixie Park out there, you know, so the kids had a place to play and do everything, you know. Because we had like a little Dixie had a little young football team, I think, that Jabo and them played with. They were called the Dixie Ram. So people had places where the kid could go and play and do things like that. So it was nice.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. History. What is your name, your family name, in history as a part of Dixie?
Okay, my name is Leander Jackson, but very few people know my real name.
Yes,
they call me Ski. But my great-grandfather and my great-grandmother was Emma Word and Joe Word. He was a Baptist preacher, and we moved here from Curry, Arkansas, to here. I think I was 3 years old, you know, and from that, you know, my mother, her name was Emily Dilby, and we lived out on F Street, and then they began to, you know, branch out, and then the family began to start doing the work around here. You know, they got jobs and all this kind of thing, and they kind of started getting good for us, you know, but I kind of missed that question too.
No, you said exactly. That's the history as a part of Dixie.
Yeah.
Now, we know the cotton, the oil gin was across the way. Do you have any family members that worked at the Dixie oil cotton mill across the street?
I used to pick and jump. That field used to belong to Mr. Kelly.
Okay.
It was a man that owned that field, and I think he owned some other field where he grew wheat and stuff. But yeah, I used to pick cotton out there. That's what I had to do during my school years when school was out.
Yes.
Well, a lot of kids, you know, if their parents were kind of well off, well then, you know, they could just play during the summertime.
Right.
But our summertime when school was out, that's why we spent our time out there picking cotton, you know, making our money for buying school clothes and things. So we'd be able to have something to wear when school would open back up again. Yeah.
And what school did you attend?
We started with College U. Wilson, but when I was going to school, College U. Wilson was not there at the beginning. Okay. It was a school across the other railroad track there, and it was called Redwood School.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big old long building from the 1st to the 6th grade, but they were building, you know,
Prodigy.
Yeah, they were building that one. And when they built that one, then they moved us from there and moved it back on this side of the railroad track, and we started going to school there. Okay. I went there from the 1st to the 6th grade, and then that's when I never knew my father until I was about 13 years old. Okay. And then he came down here from California looking for his son, and I left and went back with him. My mother let me go up there and stay with him a year, and I didn't like it being away from my mother because I'm an only child.
Yeah, okay. Yes, sir.
And what he did, so he sent me back home, you know, and then while I was back home, I went to St. Augusta School here in North Little Rock.
Okay, okay. Now, St. Augusta's
it's a Catholic school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was about 10 of us out here went to Catholic school.
Okay.
The rest of them went to Joan.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, the schools during that time, they was all white and all black.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
yes, sir.
That's where I was.
Did you ever go to Scipio Jones?
Yeah, I went there 1 year.
Okay.
1 year.
Okay. Yeah. Did you see the difference between the two, St. Augustus and Scipio Jones, as far as the children?
Well, I not really, because, but I'll tell you one thing, though, at the Catholic school, it was a whole lot different, and you could learn a lot faster, too.
Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, at Jones, you know, they had different classes. I think you had like about 5 classes you go to like that, but at the Catholic school, it was all done in just one room because the school wasn't that large.
Okay.
But, you know, I was in, like, let's say when I was in the 7th grade, the teacher was teaching 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
So if you were smart, you know, and you finished your lesson, well, you could just pick up that.
Okay.
And through that, when I went to California, tell the truth, my grade dropped because I wasn't learning anything in the public school.
Ah.
Because what they was teaching me in California in a public school, I had already learned it in the Catholic school about 6 or 7 months before I went out there, you know, because they're really here, because they are serious about, you know, their students. They want you to learn. And plus you have your parents paying tuition for you to go to school.
Ah, okay.
So you can't be up there wasting your time, wasting their money.
Yes,
yeah, you got to get out of business.
Was it still segregated? Still black at St. Augustine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joan was black, and St. Augusta, it was black.
Okay. Now, what kind of community would you state Dixie is, and why?
Say that again.
What kind of community would you say that Dixie is, and why would you say that?
About now or back then?
Let's do now, then and now. Yes.
Okay. Now, I would put back then, it was like family.
Okay.
It was all family. People was really tight and close to one another, you know. When something would happen, the St. Stephenson around there had got a bell up there, you know. And if someone's house got burned out, or someone died, or something like that, someone would go around and ring the bell.
Okay.
And that means that everybody would go to it, you know, around the St. Stephen and find out what is going on in the community. And if somebody was hungry and in need, well, then they know it would spread like that. You know? It would take care. I've seen time when people the elderly, you know, they didn't have insurance for burial insurance. Yeah. And people would pass. And I know the older brothers around here, I would say like the one around in their 20s, you know, they would go from door to door, knocking on doors, asking for $1 here, $1. That is the money to bury the person.
Wow.
But put them in the ground like that, we as teenagers, they would put us in a car and take us to the graveyard. And we would dig the graves.
Yes,
we would dig the graves for them. So that was something that they didn't have to worry about. Dig it, and after the funeral, we cover it up.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that's not necessarily, but very relative to what we're talking about. What was some of the cemeteries, or where were the cemeteries in which Dixie people were buried?
I think the Martin Cemetery, and then I don't know too many of the others, but wherever it was.
Yes, sir. Where is the Martin Cemetery?
It's in Curry.
Okay.
It's in Curry.
Okay. Yes, sir. And that was then. How would you say that Dixie is now?
Dixie is now. You really want the truth, right?
Well, yes. We want the truth.
Dixie is nowhere closer than Dixie was before. Okay. You know, I see disrespect for the elderly, you know, and I don't see the closeness. I don't see the love that it had before, you know. I see you only got a few of around that was around when I was, you know, out there in the streets and living here. Yes. And I go visit them so often, you know, and I see the young people, you know,
it's different.
It's so different.
Yes,
they're so different.
Yes,
and for them to holler a lot of time and say, well, you know, I'm Dixie. No, you don't know nothing about Dixie, because if you was Dixie, you wouldn't be doing the thing that you would be doing. Mm-hmm. Dixie, we didn't have much, but what we had, they took care of it. You know, they took care of Dixie. And you never seen if an elderly person, you know, we didn't have like, people had to walk all the way from Broadway to Dixie, because the buses didn't run out here.
Right.
And a lot of them were getting off from work and they have to bring their groceries where I had carry their groceries. Well, we as teenagers, we would see them coming all the way from Broadway, where we go meet them and get their groceries and help them bring it home out here in Dixie and all that, you know. Yeah. If somebody I know there was a pair of some people's name around the Mitchell stayed on F Street. I would go in there, my job, I would go in there during that time when you do work around the house. Well, then, like they would hang wallpaper. You don't know about this. No, you know, like the hanging wallpapers where you made them do that. I should do that for them, you know, and I wouldn't charge them nothing.
Yes,
you know, we do everything. And then they would have certain programs like every fourth Sunday at St. Stephenson. That before I became a member of the church.
Okay.
And man, me Me and one of the Johnson boys, we sit out there and they having programs there. We little kids, we out there sitting on the outside in the little shed they had out there doing the ice cream and all that kind of stuff out there and all that. Yeah. And then they would have like certain kids, you know, family that would call it, I forgot what you call it when everybody bring your stuff, you know, together.
Like a reunion?
No, I'm talking about food, you know.
Okay.
They had these programs, and everybody bring their stuff together, you know, and then they would always pick out some kids, you know, to sit with them because if the elder didn't have a child. Right. And me, I didn't have no father or nothing like that, so my mother would let me go there and sit with them all the time. You know? But I tell you one thing, you know, respect to the elder, it saved my life one time. Okay. Yeah, really.
Please share. Please share that with us. Share that with us.
Because I kind of got in some trouble, and it was nothing that I had did. It was something somebody had did to somebody, you know, and I was gonna take revenge for them. And so I got in some trouble, but never been in trouble in my life. And the parole officer, he came and asked me, he said, "Can you name me 3 people in the community that can speak up for you?" And I gave him Miss Mitchell, I gave him Miss Raquilla Johnson, and Mr. T.R. Perry on the business. Okay. And he spoke up for me, and they just throwed everything out.
All right.
Yeah, it's good to have somebody that can speak up for you.
Yes, sir.
But most of my work that I doing, and when I grew up really, and after I got married, stuff was done in California.
Yes, sir.
And I've done a lot of things in California to help my people.
Yes, sir.
I work with the NAACP up there. I work with the city council, chief of police,
yes,
and everything.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been off into a lot of stuff up
yes,
there.
Sir.
So I'm trying to help our folks, you know.
Everywhere.
Yeah, in a way that I could.
Yes, sir.
Dixie, you know, they could do a lot better, you know, because Dixie got a rep, and it's not bad.
Yes.
You know, they had a good reputation, you know. So.
And just to elaborate on that reputation, I heard you said T.R. Perry and a few other community members have definitely spoke about the businesses and just the camaraderie of being able to not have to go outside of the community to get anything. Right. Can you share with us just businesses or different houses that you would go to for things that you didn't have to go out of Dixie, plumbing, anything?
Okay, you had let me say, fresh round on D Street, you had Grover Bell. He had a movie theater for us to go to. Yes, he did. Okay. He had a movie theater, and then right across the street from him, there was a grocery store there. And then T.R. Perry, he had a grocery store and a bar. And then the Bells, they had a bar. And then Earl Jr., I don't know if you remember him, yes, he had a grocery store while people, we really didn't have to go too far for anything, you know, because everything that we needed was right here in Dixie, you know, and everybody was supporting what we one another, you know.
Right.
But and then a lot of people grew stuff and they shared that with what they had, you know. If you had a garden and fruit trees or whatever, you know, people would share stuff with each other.
Right. Now, where we're sitting at right now is the Community Development Center. And prior to that, it was the Head Start. Do you remember what it was prior to that, or do you remember the Head Start? Yes, sir.
Well, this is new to me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is new to me.
Okay. Okay. You were in California at that time. That makes sense.
This was new.
That makes sense. Yes, sir. So, what would you like to see? Well, would you like to see a new Dixie? And if so, what would that look like to you?
You know what? I would like to see. The only thing that I think that really kind of hurt Dixie was because they need something for the kids. We always said, we did the thing with the park.
Yes, sir.
I think they need a community center where the kid can have somewhere to go and you know, and play and do stuff like that, you know, and we need to try to open up business out here in Dixie, you know, and straighten Dixie up, letting them people know that, hey, we're peoples too, and you know, we're good people. We're not bad. We're good people, you know, and we can come together and do good things, you know. But I don't know. I hate for somebody to tell me that I can't do something, you this and that, you know, you can do it. Because we did it before, and we didn't have the opportunity that we had, and we didn't have the finance that we had back then, but we did a lot of things. You know, we worked together in doing it. And I would like to see this done again. But it takes the young people to realize that, you know, it's going to take them to do it, because the old one done died off, you know, but they can carry it on. But set a good example for the young one up under them that coming up, you know, give them hope, you know. But it's sad to see that.
Yes, sir. Now, C Street, D Street, E Street, F Street, G Street, A Street, I Street. Were all of those streets here when you were here?
All of them.
All of them was here. Okay. Because we, you know, during the research of Dixie, the start of it was Dixie Lane, and then it kind of grew from that. So just wondering if any individuals saw it in that process of building those streets. But you say when you were here, it was already C Street, D Street, E Street, F Street.
Streets was already here, but there was no. Okay, when we came, there was no water. We had pumps. We had to go to a pump. We had a pump on F Street, and one somewhere, I think on D Street. That's why people got their water from. Okay, we had no electricity out here. We had lamps. So T.R. Perry, he furnished the oil and stuff for our lamps and things like that. We didn't have streets like we had now. We had gravel road and muddy roads. Down here. All of that came by. I think really when they started doing the park, you know, things started changing and going on. But then one time we had the buses coming through Dixie. During my time. Yeah, but I don't know why that stopped. They used to come in not just down the
down the range line.
Come through Dixie.
And that's the city bus.
That was the city bus. I don't know why that stopped. But then, you know, then we started getting electricity, the lights and different things out of the road fixed. And then that's when Dixie started really getting on his feet, you know. But then I guess when the old one started dying out, but then things just started slowing, falling back down, you know. Well, I don't know.
Now we do. There is an annual Dixie Day. Do you recollect any of the first Dixie Day or the any Dixie Day that you've attended? Did you ever attend or was
I've only been to one since I've been
Yes, sir. How was it for you?
It was nice. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think they kind of messed it up when they started doing it in their own yard. You know, if they had kept it like that, it was a community thing. Because whether Dixie knew it or not, Dixie started this. And now you got other places like McAlma and other places have joined in with it, and they'll carry theirs on. You know, but when you start doing it in your own home and like that, I'm not saying that it's wrong. You know, but I think it'd be more like a family when you do it together.
At C Street Park. Yes, sir. That makes sense. sense. So finally, can you name 5 excellent individuals from Dixie, past or present? 5 excellent individuals.
Yes, I can.
One
of them was, I would say, Mr. Connolly. He was our first mailman. He was a black mailman.
Already, yes, sir.
That was it. That's really how they got the name Connolly Park. It was Dixie Park, but because of him and how kind of person he was, he was a good person. I would say Mr. T.R. Perry, he owned a grocery store there. He really shared everything that he had with people, you know, and who else I can name you? Some more, Mr. Equilla Johnson. She was our Sunday school teacher at St. Stephen's. But she was a lady that everybody in the community respected, you know, because she was like, she could control all of us youngsters, you know. And my last one, I would say, you are Modine Turner.
Okay.
I'll tell you, yeah. She was somebody that, along with my mother, that the young peoples could go to, especially the women, you know, the young girls.
Yes, ma'am.
They could go to and talk to them, you know, and they're not gonna just give any kind of answer go along with the program,
Right.
you know, but they're gonna try to keep them on the right road. She was like a second mother to the people to the kids out here in the community.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's all right then. That's all right. Well, we thank you for your time. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us? I know you have some pictures from the baseball. Yeah. Would you at least tell us who is on the picture? Mm-hmm. We have. If you'll just share with us, hold it up to the camera and just share with us.
Okay. This is the North Little Rock All-Star. And most of the people on there, we're black family. I mean blood family.
Right, right.
Okay, so you got Tiny Turner, you got Cecil Melvin, this is myself, this is me, and this is Mervyn. This is Robert Jr. Stovall. This is Jimmy Lee Turner. This is Lynn Turner. This is Buddy Herb. That is Sonny Ward. And that's Gene Butler. We got some others that's not on here.
Okay.
You know, yeah. But you know, I want to say this before I leave about Dixie. You know, it's a lot of things that Dixie did. It wasn't in Dixie, on the outside of Dixie.
Right.
You know, like when the kid was trying to go to school over at Central High. Well, you know, it was sad, but we used to play football against them. Dixie had a Sandlock football team.
Okay.
You know, and we used to play against Central High boys at Central High on Sundays, and then, you know, but they wasn't the one that raising all the sand over there at Central High. You know, but Dixie was the first that rode that was a time when I was growing up here in North Little Rock, when blacks had to ride on the back of the bus, okay?
Yes.
When they passed our integration, Dixie youngsters was the first that I know of that sit on the front of the bus. I'm telling you, I know I was one.
Okay.
Robert Stovall was one boy named Johnny B. Turner, and a couple more. So we walked to town, and we want to see what this integration thing for real. And we caught on the bus, and we didn't go to the back. We sit on the front, and then everybody was looking at us like we was crazy. And then it was a elderly white lady. I guess she was really old, and so wasn't nobody get up for us. So we did get up and let her sit down. But we were the first was the one did that. The Robinson Auditorium over there, why they used to have our wrestling every Tuesday night. Dixie used to just flunk to the wrestling back, you know. And so, but we had to sit upstairs. We couldn't sit downstairs. We couldn't go downstairs. They had like the waiter. He would come upstairs and bring you whatever you need. Yeah. And they had us divided. They had a rope there between us. At the top, we had a little section where the black could sit there and watch the wrestling, and then all at the bottom was the white, and then on the right side, that was the white. But when the integration came in, well, we said, we're gonna go downstairs and see can we get something to drink. We did, we went. Right. It was the same 6 of us, went downstairs, got our drink, and they trailed us back up. You know, some of the boys down, some of the white boys trailed us back up there. But we came on back up, and once we got to the top, while we were resting there, well, the next week we went to the restaurant, they had put the rope back there. But it only was there for just like maybe 1 week or something like that, till things settled down. And the All-Star that you see now, during that time, we was playing in the Black League, but we was the only team that could play in a white league here back then in the 60s. Yeah, we played in Biddy Craig Park there. We was the North Little Rock All-Star, and we was the baddest thing in the league, but they wouldn't let us win the championship game because they didn't want no blacks going to Memphis representing, you know.
Wow.
And we played at Communist Prison Farm. We the only team that they kept asking to come back.
Yes.
We went down there about 4 times. to play the prison.
Yeah.
And we went the first time to play them. They had like a stream there that separated us from the prison.
Yes.
But because of our attitude and the way that we acted, the next time we went, the warden took it down. While we could fellowship during halftime. We played two games when we go down there. And they would let us sit out there in the field with the food. We'd take food and everything, sit out there with the prison and everything. We went out and we did that for about 3 years straight.
Yes,
We were on the team. We had a traveling team.
Yes.
Then we had 2 great big old Greyhounds where we rode on and everything. So we was a pretty bad team.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sounds like it.
But Dixie, we got a good history of doing good things around here. But I just wanted people to know, that Dixie not only did things inside of Dixie, but we started a lot of things on the outskirts of Dixie, trying to help, open doors and things. It wasn't easy.
Right.
Because we were the only team that had white players. And we would go into a area where we'd be playing like a black team. We had 2 white players on our team, and they would run us out of town after the game was over. We couldn't just hang around the town, like that, because they would tell you you might do that somewhere else, but you can't do it. So we have to get up and get out of town. But,
wow.
But
yes.
But we had a great time, playing.
Right. Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I did good, because if I had a note, I shouldn't be saying all this stuff.
You can say what you feel, but what we want you to know is that it's 100 years, and Dixie is, like you said, an excellent community. I grew up here. I know others who have grown up here and who have gone off, but this is a time for us to commemorate and for us to celebrate the excellence that has came out of Dixie, and you are one of them as well. And so thank you for just taking the time to come. We know how you feeling, so we thank you for coming, and we thank you for opening your heart and sharing with us. Okay. And tell us again your name.
Leander Jackson. I just want to say that I came to Dixie when I was 3 or 4 years old.
Yes.
I'm 80 now. And I always talk about Dixie, because this is home.
Yes.
This is home. I come out here and visit the folks that are still around, as often as I can.
Yes, sir.
But I hope Dixie one day can become back, and be the Dixie that it used to be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you.